And now we're going to move along on our agenda to Laura Didier, a parent who is going to recount a personal story that she has lived about overdose. And Laura, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Laura Didier. I reside in Placer County, but I grew up in Sacramento County, went to McClatchy High, so very tied to the community. This is my son, Zach, behind me. He was 17 years old. He was a senior at Whitney High School, and he was in the top of his class, and he was a track star, and he starred in the school musical. He almost got a perfect score in the SATs, and he was a loving sibling. I have two older children. Zach was my baby, and he just was a wonderful, wonderful young man, involved in all of the things, all the things we tell parents, to have your kids involved in and be involved, so that they stay on the right, track and making good decisions. That was how he was. Beloved by all his friends. So we were totally blindsided when his father found him dead in his bedroom on December 27th. There were no drugs in his room. There was no bodily injury. We had never heard of fentanyl. Our other two children had never experimented with drugs or even really alcohol until they became 21. So this was not a situation we'd had any personal experience with in our family or group of friends. There were truly no real warning signs. His friend group didn't change, his grades didn't suffer. And in fact, he had just applied to the UC schools, and 3 months after he died, we got all his acceptance letters, including UCLA, which was where he really wanted to go. So when we found him dead in our house, and his father and brother tried to bring him back, but it was too late. When I got to the house, he'd already been pronounced dead, and they were investigating. We were very fortunate because our law enforcement really, took it very seriously and did a thorough, search of his room and kept us all away while they did that. Informed us there was no indication of self-harm or injury to him, so they thought it would either be an undiagnosed health condition or fentanyl. And that was the first time I'd heard of fentanyl. I'd never heard of counterfeit pills before, and it was very shocking to us because we really, we had always thought if any of our kids, started developing any misuse of substances, we'd get those red flags and we could intervene and help. And but tragically, Zach was just in a very, maybe bored, maybe the COVID lockdowns. We're still not really sure why he wanted to try what he thought was a Percocet pill. And so for him, that's what it was. It was a counterfeit Percocet pill, and that one ended his life. So once we got that confirmed, we were able to get his phone unlocked by his girlfriend. So the investigators on Zach's case were able to determine very quickly who was allegedly responsible. We do have an arrest, and a couple of charges, one including involuntary manslaughter. But he hasn't even entered a plea yet. He's serving time for another crime. So he is incarcerated at this point. But, and I believe that DA Geyer has indicated that they'll be doing the admonishment as well. And so once we got confirmation and an arrest, then we were able to go public with what had happened. Fortunately, because at Zach's high school, several reporters from KCRA, our local, NBC, they heard, through the neighborhood and the school about Zachary's death, and really wanted to get the word out to the community because they had students as well at Zach's school. So we've gone public. We've been on the nightly news with Lester Holt and KCRA, just really trying to put a face on this new one pill can kill paradigm that so many parents just don't know about and think like we did, that, you know, you would have opportunities to intervene if your child was struggling in some way. But this can really rob you of that. On Christmas Day, Zach, only thing was he seemed extra tired. He just seemed a bit more tired than normal, but he had a plausible explanation to us about staying up late playing video games. But if I'd known about any of this, I might have queried him, you know, a little harder to say, are you sure, you know, that that's all that's going on? Have you heard about this or that? But he thought he was okay because he was being safe by trying Percocet, not something, you know, stronger. Little did he know, he was actually trying the most deadly thing that's out there right now. So it's my mission to educate people around this and talk to families and put a face that could be anybody's child, to understand why we all need to care about this, and we all need to be aware of what is now just an easy access for our kids. So I'm really glad that Song for Charlie was mentioned earlier, because right after we went public, we got connected with the founders, the parents of Song for Charlie. Ed Turnan, Charlie's dad, actually grew up in Davis. They live down in Southern California now, and Charlie died at Santa Clara University. He died a year ago in May. So by the time we went public with Zach's story, they had already established Song for Charlie and were already doing really incredible work. There was another couple that lost their son in up in Oregon, in Beaverton, Oregon. And tragically, the school district their son had graduated from had lost a handful of kids already to these fake pills by the time their son died. And they also had known nothing about any of this with these fake pills. So they worked with their school district, Beaverton School District, to craft a curriculum around this issue. It's called Fake and Fatal. And there's one geared for middle school and one geared for high school. And there's flyers, there's social media content. There are 4 explainer videos on there that's geared for kids. They're 90 seconds long. So you can sit down with your kids and say, hey, watch these videos with me. The actor, you know, that's featured in there is talking to the kids, you know, what's a fentanyl? What is this about? Why is there so much fentanyl? Why is it so deadly? What can we do about it? How can we, you know, warn other people? So we've been going to different schools and anywhere that we can get a group of people, parents, kids together. Zach's high school just did something that I thought was so smart to bring the kids really into it. They had us come and the kids in their journalism class did a press conference with us. So they had, you know, prepared the kids about Zach's story. You know, a number of them knew Zach personally. So, you know, they asked really great questions, and now they'll be writing up the story about it, and it'll be going out for Red Ribbon Week. We're going to be coming back to Whitney High and doing more next week. I just got done last week with a Zoom meeting with Folsom Cordova School District, and what we're going to do with them for Red Ribbon Week. So this is something I want to be a resource. I want to be able to put a face to this. Since going public, we've had a lot of local families reach out to us who have lost people either, you know, before Zach, but quite a number who have lost, you know, loved ones, young people since Zach. So we've got a really strong group of, you know, bereaved families together that want to help in whatever way that they can. And so we were so grateful to DA Schubert for hosting a meeting. I gathered about 6 victim families, and she and Rod Norgard gave us 2 hours of their time just listening to the impact of this. And they've been doing a PSA campaign, and I'm just so grateful to everybody for really jumping in with both feet and saying, this is something we need to address. It's a different paradigm than what it used to be. So, we're really trying to update the language around this to fentanyl poisoning with these counterfeit pills. I think that updating that language is so important, because I know for me, prior to losing Zach, if there had been, stories about overdose, I might have, listened with compassion, but not with like, that could affect my family, because none of my children were battling addiction issues. But if I were sitting and listening to a story about, young people, people of all ages are being deceived by counterfeit pills and being poisoned by fentanyl, I would stop more and listen to that and say, okay, wait a minute, this could affect my kids. Maybe they, they have Snapchat and Facebook, Instagram, and because so much of the way it's getting to these kids is through social media. So I'm going to be helping with the fair. I'm going to hopefully, Lori, I'm going to talk to you offline about having a booth for Song for Charlie to get the information out, because right now the main mission with Song for Charlie, and I volunteer with them at this point, is getting the information into the schools, getting it in front of the eyes of students, and putting together social media spots that will run on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, anywhere that kids are and young people are. These ads will pop up that will say, do you know about fake pills? Do you know this and that? And just to give them that information, because they've been doing research. I believe it was Snapchat conducting research with focus groups of young people. And we're just it really surprised all of us how many kids are still unaware that the market is flooded with these fake pills, and they are being deceived. They're naive. They think they recognize these brand names, Adderall, Xanax. It's the age where people, under 30, their pill usage is so normalized. If there's something's wrong, there's a pill to help you. And tragically, it was already so tragic losing people to overdose through more of the traditional idea of overdose and through substance use disorder. And that's tragic enough already, but then you factor in that now experimentation or occasional recreation or self-medication can be instantly deadly. It's something that really, really needs to get out there. So I really appreciate everybody on this call. I know Placer's trying to do a lot of the things that Sac County is doing as well. So I'm just really, really grateful, and I'm here to be a resource in any way possible.
Thank you so much, Laura. And I'd like to express my sincerest condolences for your loss.
Thank you.
And as a parent, I also like to thank you, for taking time to share this tragic experience, but also, for your efforts in educating, the community and young people, on this. I know it's difficult, and again, we appreciate you being here, today.
It is difficult, but I know it's what he'd want us to do, because he always said, as he was applying to college, and he was saying, I don't exactly know yet what I want to do. He applied as a psychology major because he loved people, and he loved learning, about people and why they think the way they do and how to help people. And he just would always say, I don't know exactly what I want to do, Mom, but I want to help people. So, this is the way that he can through us. And I just, I can't express enough how grateful I am that it's just getting more attention. And it's too late for Zach, but we are working together. We are gonna save other people, and I won't rest without doing that.
Thank you, Laura. And there's
Thank you for all of the chat notes too. Thank
yes,
you.
I was going to say there's some very, very, very touching comments to you. So, again, thank you, for sharing, and just keep moving forward, in
Thank
your
you.
efforts.